If you thought the first part was hard to stomach, brace yourself for part 2, because we explore even deeper into 3 more of the most unforgiving punishments in history. These brutal methods weren't just about death, they were about humiliation, psychological torment, and creating fear that would last generations. Ready to uncover more of history's darkest secrets? Let's start. This time, things are even more intense. Number 3. The Brazen Bull, roasted alive. First up, we return to ancient Greece for one of the most disturbing punishments ever conceived, the Brazen Bull. If you remember the brutalities of scaphism from our last video, this method shares the same level of sheer psychological terror. The victim was locked inside a hollow bronze bull, and a fire was lit beneath it. The heat would slowly roast them alive, turning the bronze into a literal oven. But the real horror? The bull was designed so that the victim's screams would echo through pipes and sound like the roars of a bull, a twisted spectacle for those watching. The pain was unimaginable, but the psychological torment was just as terrifying. You weren't just being executed, you were being turned into a grotesque spectacle, your suffering literally amplified for the world to hear. Number 2. The Judas Cradle, humiliation and pain. Next, we head to medieval Europe to explore a device that wasn't just about pain, but about complete degradation, the Judas Cradle. Victims were suspended over a sharp, pointed pyramid, and slowly lowered onto it. As their body weight increased the pressure, the tip of the pyramid would penetrate the most vulnerable areas of their body. What made this punishment truly horrifying was the slow, methodical nature of it. The victim was left to endure hours or even days of unbearable pain, infection setting in as their body was pierced by the crude device. But there was more than just physical suffering. The Judas Cradle was designed to be a public spectacle, a method to break both the body and the spirit. Imagine being subjected to this torture in front of a crowd, each moment of agony drawn out, knowing you were exposed, vulnerable, and humiliated. Used often during the Spanish Inquisition, this punishment wasn't just about justice, it was about making an example of someone, ensuring that everyone who saw it would never dare to challenge authority again. And the number 1. Breaking on the wheel, the human grinder. Now, let's revisit one of the most feared punishments in medieval Europe, breaking on the wheel, also known as the Catherine wheel. In part 1, we talked about keelhauling, which used the sea to destroy sailors. But breaking on the wheel? This punishment was designed to destroy the human body in the most grotesque and way possible. Picture this. The victim is tied to a giant wheel, limbs spread out over the spokes. The executioner then takes an iron bar and smashes the bones of each limb, starting with the arms and legs, leaving the person alive but completely incapacitated. After the bones are shattered, the broken body is twisted and woven into the wheel, where the victim is left to suffer in full view of the public. But here's where it gets even worse. The wheel, with the broken body attached, was often hoisted up on a pole for all to see. This wasn't just about execution, it was about creating a symbol of terror. People would be forced to watch as the condemned person suffered for hours, sometimes days, slowly dying of exposure, dehydration, and their shattered body. Can you imagine the mental torture of being trapped in a body so broken, so twisted, that you could do nothing but wait for death? Breaking on the wheel was one of the most soul-destroying punishments in history, a horrific reminder of how justice could be used not just to punish, but to completely annihilate someone's will to live. It's hard to believe these punishments were real, that they weren't just invented as horror stories, but used as tools of control and fear in ancient and medieval societies. From the twisted spectacle of the Brazen Bull to the slow, agonizing death on the Catherine wheel, these methods were designed not just to end lives but to leave a lasting message of terror. These punishments reveal a darker side of history, one where cruelty and power ruled, and where human suffering was used as entertainment, control, and dehumanization. It's easy to look back and feel horrified, but these stories also remind us just how far we've come in terms of justice and humanity. If these dark tales left you speechless, stay tuned because history has even more chilling stories waiting to be uncovered. Make sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. There's always more to learn, and trust me, the worst may still be ahead.